The first episode of the CW's Gotham Knights has aired, and well, I didn't like it at all. It's not good, it's not great, and it isn't awful either. If anything, this show just feels pointless, and I already have one major problem with Gotham Knights. And yes, this core reason is why I think this show will ultimately fail and get cancelled eventually. In case you didn't know, Gotham Knights stars a bunch of misfit characters. These misfit characters are the following: a made-up character who's supposedly Batman's adopted son, the Joker's daughter, two siblings, and Carrie Kelly, who in this show is Batman's Robin. These characters all know each other for one reason or another, which, by the way, the show spends the first 20 minutes of this episode pointing this out. One night, these characters find themselves in the wrong situation, which leads to them getting framed for, and you probably guessed it by now, the death of Batman. Yeah, we're doing that storyline again because apparently it hasn't been done enough. After getting framed and getting caught by the police, these characters escape from prison, and the secondary big plotline of this season is revealed. The Court of Owls is somehow involved. Yeah, this Gotham Knights show is also doing that again, as if it'll be any better than the Gotham Knights video game iteration of the Court of Owls, or better yet, Gotham's iteration of the Court of Owls. That's it. That's all that happens in the first episode of Gotham Knights. Now, despite me not being the biggest fan of yet another Batman is dead, whodunit storyline, or another The Court of Owls are involved with Gotham City, we need to bring them down storyline, neither of those is my core problem with Gotham Knights. My core problem with Gotham Knights is that it's genuinely a lazy show, and this show's main character, whose name is Turner Hayes, highlights this exact issue. If the name Turner Hayes doesn't ring a bell, there's a reason. Turner Hayes is a character that was made up just for this show. He's an entirely brand new original character created by the CW, and before people think I'm gonna be overreactionary, I promise you I'm not. I'm fully aware that we have probably a good 20 or so episodes that may allow the character and his actor to grow into his own. The issue I have with Turner Hayes is that throughout the first episode, you're constantly being bombarded with these lines that attempt to sell the viewer on this idea that Turner Hayes and Bruce Wayne had this loving and endearing relationship, but it doesn't work at all. If anything, it fails tremendously. Unlike Gotham Knights, the video game, this TV show fails to do any of the groundwork that's needed to sell us on this newly created relationship that it genuinely wants us to believe. In the video game, we at least get cutscenes, flashbacks, voiceovers, and smaller moments between the Gotham Knights that genuinely make us believe that Bruce affected the Gotham Knights. You believe in all of the moments those characters share with us. You believe that Bruce's death means something to them. And since they're not characters that were made up just for that game, you find yourself getting somewhat invested in the Gotham Knights. And since this Gotham Knights TV show has absolutely none of that, this show's emotional story beats within the first episode feel incredibly hollow. What this first episode desperately needed were multiple flashbacks, or at least some sort of voiceover lines of Bruce saying something whenever Turner would talk about his relationship with Bruce growing up. That way, even though Turner Hayes is this character that people are either going to entirely write off because he's a made-up character, or eventually find themselves liking as the first season goes on, there's at least a level of believability in that relationship. If the next several episodes don't do a better job at selling us this supposed father and son relationship, which is seemingly pivotal to this season's entire plot, I question why the CW bothered making this show. For what it's worth, yes, I do understand the idea of wanting to make an entirely new character like Turner for this type of show. It allows the CW to have a ton of creative freedom and to take far more creative risks with Gotham Knights. Plus, it allows them to do things that aren't entirely tied to the comics. It's just that the idea behind this show, which is an entirely made-up character and a bunch of misfits finding themselves eventually becoming heroes, would have worked with almost any other character outside of Batman, since he has the Bat family. This show could have been an Arrow spin-off where a secret child that Oliver had finds themselves searching for answers about Oliver, and he eventually becomes the next hero of Star City, and it would have worked perfectly fine. With the direction that the CW went with Arrow, that would have made perfect sense, and it would have left the door open for a ton of Arrow cameos to happen. Plus, it could have allowed Mia to come back and work with this hypothetical character in this hypothetical show, and people would have been happy. I'm telling you, that would have been an easy layup for a newly rebooted Arrowverse. Instead, we're sitting here with the Gotham Knights and Turner Hayes, who's hard to care about and who you almost want to laugh at because it's incredibly clear that they wanted this character to desperately be a clone of Bruce Wayne. I genuinely couldn't help but get frustrated throughout the first episode because all I wanted was depth. I wanted some sort of setup that allowed me to semi-believe that Bruce did adopt this made-up character, but instead I just found myself constantly thinking things like, where's the flashback to prove this? You could have at least given me a voiceover of Bruce saying this exact thing that Turner claims Bruce said. Why couldn't they at least get that actor from Gotham to play flashback Bruce Wayne for these moments so this show makes at least a little more sense contextually, and far more things that fall in line with those examples. And what's even more frustrating is that this exact problem applies to the rest of the Gotham Knights characters because these side characters also aren't good at all outside of one character. No, I don't care about Misha Collins, Harvey Dent, as much as I hate to say that. No, I don't care about Stephanie Brown. No, I don't care about Harper and Cullen Rowe. I only care about one character, and that's because she's the only redeeming factor in this show, or at least she's the only character that has any sort of potential. That character is Dwella. Dwella is the daughter of Joker, and she has a decent amount of shining moments in the first episode of Gotham Knights. However, just like I stated about Turner, I wish the emotional beats or serious beats where she talks about Joker abandoning her had far more depth. For example, there's a moment towards the end of the first episode where she talks about knowing the Court of Owls because of the scary bedtime stories Joker used to supposedly tell her. If we got even 2 voiceover lines, that line and piece of TV show lore would have landed better. Hell, I would have taken a terrible Joker laugh faintly playing along with hearing the voices of Arkham patients as she said that line, since she even mentions hearing the voices of Arkham Asylum when talking about the Court of Owls. That would have added some level of believability to what she was saying, but instead we're gonna have to deal with that never happening due to weird DC licensing issues, just like we saw with Fox's Gotham. And just like Dwella, Carrie Kelly is another character who also has the same problem. In this show, Carrie is Batman's Robin, and it frustrated me so much when she revealed this toward the end of the first episode. There are so many lines where she's talking to Turner about her experiences with Bruce and how she became his Robin to begin with, instead of any flashbacks, sound effects, or voiceover lines that reference these times that Carrie spoke about. There's absolutely nothing at all. However, that's when it hit me, as we were told this entirely unbelievable piece of information toward the ending of this first episode. A major realization began to set in. I should just play the Gotham Knights video game instead of bothering with this Gotham Knights show ever again. A poorly constructed set of characters, an uninteresting version of Gotham City, and 2 poorly done plot points that we've already seen before in both a video game and a different DC TV show, but better, is the best way I can summarize my initial impressions of Gotham Knights. While this Gotham Knights show does have a full season that could potentially pivot its characters, overarching plot points, and universe into a better position, it's hard to have hope. This show feels pointless, lazily put together, and like it's more so being forced upon DC fans than feeling like a genuine passion project that's attempting to usher in the new era of the Arrowverse as the original Arrowverse comes to an end. I genuinely wouldn't be shocked if this show gets cancelled sooner rather than later, and I'll be honest, as a DC fan, I don't want this show to fail. However, the whole idea of this show just highlights DC's biggest problem, which is their obsession with tying everything to Batman in one form or another. If this show was tied to nearly any other DC character, as I said earlier, maybe, just maybe, this show would have worked, or at least left many DC fans such as myself with a better impression. Unfortunately, the first episode of Gotham Knights is enough to make me not want any more of this show, despite it not being downright terrible. Instead, it made me appreciate the Gotham Knights video game more than I previously did, because at least that game respects your time and your love for Batman.